My name is David Bridgman-Packer. I'm a third-year resident in the Alaska Track at Seattle Children's. Within the Alaska Track, I come to Fairbanks as well as Anchorage. And I grew up outside New York City. I lived in New York for 6 years before residency, and I did medical school and public health school at Columbia in New York. What stood out about the Alaska Track for me was the combination of subspecialty quaternary care in Seattle with really deep training in rural medicine, community medicine, and primary care pediatrics. And then I also have an interest in health policy and health systems, and Alaska has a fascinating and unique healthcare system that it has designed to take care of people all across the state, and working in that system gave me a chance to understand it from the inside. We stay connected with our class even when we're up in Alaska, so we do the first 8 months of residency in Seattle to really become part of the family there, and we still join in Zoom parties and online meetings, and we can still participate in morning conference and noon conference while we're up in Alaska. It's a really fun adventure. And so if your mindset is that you are ready to explore new places and build new communities and find new friends, then this is the place to do that. Because we pack our suitcases every 2 to 4 months, and we move towns. And so instead of just having one residency family, we end up having 3 residency families, 2 in Alaska and 1 in Seattle. When I think about the unique things that the Alaska Track brings to the table, one of the things that I think about is the continuity that I've had with patients. And I now have patients that I've seen both in the hospital and in clinic over the course of a year and a half, almost 2 years now, where I've been able to follow these patients and work with them through healthcare challenges and see them when they're healthy and see them when they're in the hospital, and really understand how a family deals with a child that's going through a challenge. And that sort of continuity that transitions both between an inpatient setting and an outpatient setting is really unique and is really hard to find in a residency program.
My name is Daisy Brooke. I am a third-year resident. I went to medical school at OHSU, and I'm from Oregon. I had also happened to get a service commitment scholarship to Oregon, where I will be working in a rural practice when I'm done. So my thought was, well, this program not only allows me the tertiary care experience at Seattle Children's, the diversity of cases and the ability to see really rare examples of pathologies, but I also get this great community and rural experience in Alaska. It seemed like the absolute perfect program for what I knew I was going to end up doing. And so I feel like I am so much better prepared to go into primary care. And the education you get at Children's is wonderful regardless of what track you go into, and you can really customize your education. But Alaska Track is really special in the intensive primary care experience you get. The fact that you're managing your own schedule, the fact that you're working without fellows around, and fellows are wonderful teachers. But if you're working without fellows, you're working directly with attendings the entire time, who are able to pass on their wisdom directly.
My name is Emily. I'm one of the third-year residents in the Seattle Children's Alaska Track. I wound up going to medical school at Emory, which is down in Atlanta. For me, being part of the Alaska Track was a way to both be at a huge referral center and then also be out in the community where you don't have those sub specialists nearby, and you're forced to work up the problem a little bit more on your own, and forced to be a little bit more thoughtful about your practice. I think embracing the cold activities has been a really good way to deal with that. So I was able to pick up cross-country skiing while I was here, and that's been a lot of fun. That'll keep you really warm, especially because I'm not good at it, so I'm not very efficient. One of the things that I think was really unique about the interview day that we had that also sold me on the track was how much involvement there was from attendings. Typically, and sorry you guys won't have this, we have a big interview dinner with the residents who are in Alaska at the time, which is at max 4 people. But then a lot of the attendings from the community come in and join for dinner. That I think is really something that's really special, because you get the opportunity to, one, see how tight-knit that community is. You know, it's not just residents who are tight-knit, it's also the attendings that they work with and the attendings of the different practices that they work with.
My name is Greg Fall. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to medical school at the University of New Mexico. I'm part of the Bethel-Latouche arm of the Alaska Track. I first heard about the Alaska Track while I was just doing research about pediatric residencies. I was really looking for something in the western United States, and ideally in kind of the mountain west kind of region, and saw that this program was available in Alaska, and got interested in finding out more. So I would say that the Bethel-Latouche track has a lot of different opportunities to learn, and that same broad and flexible schedule that you can see on either side of the Alaska Track. Most of the places are not connected to running water and have their water delivered to them. Our house does have direct city running water though. And then it's got, a grocery store, but the grocery store will have more expensive groceries and things like that, prices that are consistent with more of a bush Alaska experience. There is a gym and that sort of thing, and then it's got a nice small town feel. I think everybody who goes to Bethel gets a different flavor of Bethel depending on what experiences they're looking for. So for me, I ended up participating quite a bit in pickup sports. Broom ball in the winter. So it's a fun place to be. You just have to keep an open mind, and I would just recommend to anybody who's coming here to say yes to those kinds of opportunities. There's a hooligan run that comes up. So about millions of fish run up the Kuskokwim River, and it's kind of neat because you'll hear them that they're passing different towns because people communicate about where this run is. The run will only pass the town for a day, so you have to just kind of know when it's coming, and then when it's there, everybody kind of gets excited and runs down to the river, and you can just dip a net into the water and pull out a full meal for yourself in one shot. If I was gonna talk about the breadth of the experience when I'm in Alaska, I would say that for one, when you're in Anchorage, this private outpatient pediatric clinic where you get your bread and butter pediatrics and get really honed in on those skills. And then that's married with this unique experience that you'll not be able to find anywhere else in the country, where you're able to experience a little bit of an Alaskan adventure, but then also work on skills that you want to work on and take advantage of the learning opportunities that are out here. It was a great place to do training.
When it comes to finding things to do, a lot of it depends on what the weather is doing outside at any given time. And so we try to cherish the bright sunny days that last forever and go on hikes and climbing and camping. And there are so many mountains to explore. And then when it's negative 30 degrees outside and all you want to do is stay inside with a cup of tea and some friends and play some board games, then that is something else that we all really enjoy.
But it's really great to be able to see, Alaska both in the summertime, which is really spectacular, but also to see it in the wintertime because it's a completely different state in the wintertime.
The people who you work with are so incredibly supportive, and they want you to succeed, and they care for you, and it really shows in how they interact with you and how they support you on a day-to-day basis. I didn't expect to find a second family in Alaska, but I feel like I did.